Hi everyone and welcome to Crochet Rocks. My name's Tracy and I'm doing this for a little favour for Criss from Criss Cross Crafts. She sent me a link to her tutorial that her pattern rather, that she's made for this mask extender, and asked if I would do a tutorial. So I'm going to do that now, but I have a little bit of a problem, and that is that as you know, I am self-isolating away from my home address, and so that means I don't have my sewing box, so I have no needle and cotton, and I don't have any buttons at all. Well, I managed to find one on the inside of a coat that I could really just cut off just for the purposes of this to show you. So I did that. So I would obviously sew this button here, and then once you want to wear it, you would then just feed that button through. Obviously, if you were going to make this yourself, you would make it with a lovely button that would match and be contrasting, but you know, I don't have anything, and I do feel a little bit like I can't do it justice with the limited materials that I've got. So it's for a worsted weight, and I've used this this is the mask that we're kind of talking about. It's one of those where it fits around your ears, and after a while constantly wearing it starts to hurt. So this is like a little extender strap so it can go around the back of your head. And I've used this, which is a Muir Woods Premier yarn. And this was sent to me some time ago by Glenda from Creative Grandma in our yarn swap. And I've used it a few times, made myself some fingerless gloves with it. And I really love it. So I've kind of not used it much since because I don't want to run out of it. But I had I've got 2 whole balls, but I had a small amount that was left over from a previous ball, so I made it with this. But as you can see, it's very, very jazzy, this yarn, and so doing a tutorial would make it hard to follow because of the different colours and the blacks in it. So I'm just going to substitute that for this one, and I know it's very girly colours, but at least you should be able to see it. If I can untangle it, that is. You should be able to see what we're doing. So now the instructions are for a worsted weight, but to use a 350 crochet hook. So that stops it from being overly elastic and gives you a nice fit around the back. So if you can imagine this with its button all sewn on nicely and secure there, it's not got a massive amount of give, and you've not had to use cotton to achieve that. So you would just put this around those straps and button it up securely. Right then, so I've got my 3.5mm crochet hook, pair of scissors handy, darning needle to sew in the ends, and a button, but obviously I won't be able to sew this button on. So just pausing the video slightly for a moment while I just adjust the curtain. Okay, so I'm back. Now Criss's instructions, she's used Bernat handcrafter cotton, but any worsted weight cotton will do. And obviously, just if you use a different weight or size, just adjust that. Now, my Muir Woods, I don't believe was cotton, but no, 100% acrylic. But as you can see, it didn't have that stretch to it anyway because we're using the small hook. So we're going to make a slip knot, and you can do that however you have been taught or however you do yours. So I'm going to make sure that a beginner can follow this. So how I made my slip knot was to make a loop and just go around the back and pull my yarn through, and I've made my loop. So you just cinch that down a little bit, insert the hook, and we're going to make a chain of 37. So to do a chain, we yarn over and pull through that loop, yarn over and pull through. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit and show you once more, just in case you didn't catch that. So we yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through. So I need 37, and I believe that's 5. So I'm going to just pause this video while I carry on, otherwise my counting could put you off. But I will pick up again once we've got 37 chain. Right, so here we are, we've got 37 chain, and what we're going to do is, in the UK terms, we're going to do a treble crochet, which in the US is a double crochet. So I'm going to zoom in once again, and I hopefully won't deviate off camera. So this loop here on the hook doesn't count, and so this is our first chain from the hook, and this is the second, and we're going to work into the third one. So we're going to yarn over and insert our hook into that stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. Now we have 3 loops on our hook, so we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 of those, and yarn over and pull through the other 2. And that's a treble crochet in the UK or a double crochet in the US. And we're going to do 1 in each of our stitches all the way along, each of our chains. So I'm yarning over, and I'm going to go into the next one, and I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop. So yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And that's as simple as that. This first 2, that counts as our first stitch. We're just going to do that in each one. So if you are a beginner and you need to watch that again, you can just rewind a little way. I'm just going to do that all the way along. Now I'm going to hold this in my finger, so it helps me find out where I am. So you can see you've been into this one. We're just going to go in here. Now if I go too fast and go ahead of you, then just pause the video and catch up with me. It doesn't matter if you go into the first loop as I do. A lot of people tell you to go into this, like make sure you've got 2 loops on the hook. But I always just try my best just to go into the top loop. Just pulling out some yarn. Now this is going to look, I know it might look a little odd. I tried to find one that didn't have such a long self-striping vibe to it. I think the Muir Woods Premier was slightly thicker than this. As a worsted weight, it is fairly thick. So this may have a little more play to it because this isn't a cotton. Don't really have that much in the way of 4-weight cotton. But you can use whichever yarn you have handy. Just make sure you use a fairly small hook for that weight, and you'll have the same kind of result. That's the word I'm looking for, result. So that's what it's looking like a neat little row. We're going to carry on one of those UK treble, US double crochet in each of our chains to the end. It's not a very long tutorial, that's why I've not kind of paused it and catching up with you at the end. If it was an intricate long pattern, I'd do that. Trying to slow myself down for you in case you need it, that is. Don't matter if it curls just a little bit. Pull out some more yarn. Going to change colour soon. I mean, obviously once you've got this under your belt, you can play around with colours. You can do the edge in a different colour if you want to, and just get creative with it. If I had my own bits here, I would have my sewing box and I have a massive supply of different colour buttons and some that are character buttons. Got lots of stuff at home, but not here. So we're at the end. I'll show you a little tip that I have. You don't have to do this if it's going to confuse you, but this is how I do my ends. I'll go in and I will pull up my loop, and I will put my tail over the top. And just see it there? Hold it with a finger if you have to, so it's out of the way. You've still just got 3 on the hook, but it's just pushed it in between. And I grab it again, if I can, and bring it back. So it's in the front. I'll hold it with my finger so it's out of the way, and finish my stitch. And now I've brought my yarn up. You don't have to do that, but that's how I said I'd show one day how I bring my yarn up. But it doesn't, you don't need to do it. So I just thought I would show you. So now we've gone all the way along and we've got our little row. Now we're going to go around this whole thing with in the UK double crochet, but in the US single crochet. Now you can turn your work and go that way if you want, or you can carry on this way. So I'm just going to do 1 chain, and in the same stitch here I'm going to do 3 UK doubles or US singles. So how we do that is in this same stitch that we have just finished, we're going to insert into the top of that stitch and yarn over and pull up our loop. So we have 2 on our hook. I'll show you again, because I'm quite zoomed in, it might not have, you might not have seen it. So there we are, there's our stitch that we've just done. We're going to insert our hook, yarn over and pull up that loop. So we're going to yarn over and pull through 2. We're going to go back in there and do that again, exactly the same. Now because I'm kind of halfway round, you can just leave it at 2 and finish that off when you get back to the other side. But as it's very small, I don't think it's going to make a great deal of difference. So we're going to do 1 more stitch in that end. So we've got 3 stitches in that end, and now we're going to do the same at this point here. Now this is our end. So this row here is the chain that we started with. You can see that there's the end. So I'm going to just insert into that very first stitch, and I'm going to do 3 stitches in there. 1, 2, 3. Of course you can just simply go all the way along, just as I said before, if you wanted to. Now I'm going to go into every stitch again. This time we're going through the opposite side of our chains, and I'm going to work over this yarn, so just hold it, pull up my loop, do my stitch into the next one, yarn over and pull up my loop, and I'm going to do that in every stitch along. Just starting to change colour now. Every stitch that we've been in, this is the bottom of those stitches. Here's the top. So we're actually working in the bottom end now. I prefer doing it this way because I don't like the back of my stitches in any way. So I can carry on going through the top. But if you wanted to end off and start at another point, you can. But I just did that in my corner. It's curling because it's a very small hook. So I'm just going to hold that in my hand. I'll show you when we get back to the start. The other end does look a little neater, I must say. But that will be the outer side. Just need to pull out some more yarn. There we are. So I'm going to just tuck that back now and snip it off in a moment. Get off. So that's out of the way. every stitch all the way along the same. Nice little finishing off stitch. And that's what it looks like all the way along. Just carry on. Nearly at the end. Just a few more left. And we're nearly there. So here we are. Now we're going to do 3 in our corner. So that's our first one, the second one, and our third. That just turns our corner. But we don't really have any stitches in the middle, so we're going to go back into the first stitch and do our 3. And again, that will just flip us around that corner. And then we can carry on doing 1 in every stitch along the other way. Now we're going back the other end. See that? Work all the way along the other side. Just holding that in my little fingers, keep it out of the way. So just as we were working in the underside of that stitch, now we're in the top part. And we're going to do 1 in every single stitch until we get to the end. So now I might just pause the video because you've seen this going along this way. So I'm going to pause the video and I will catch up with you when we get back to our start. Hello again. So I've only got a couple of stitches left to do. There's one there, last one. So now all I have to do is slip stitch into my first one and end off. Grab my scissors. Just bear with me a sec. I think I went into the wrong bit there. First stitch. Oh, I didn't. It's because it's a different colour. Looked a bit odd. So I snip off my end. And how we end off is just by pulling, doing a chain, but pulling it right down and pulling it through so it cinches it nice and low. So now we have a row of UK treble or US double crochets and a row of single US or double UK around this side. So all we have to do now is sew in our ends. With this one that I worked over, I can just snip off and get rid of. I'll just zoom out a little bit. And this one, all I have to do is sew that in. So this is the tricky part for me. So I'm just going to, helps to have you up the right way. Luckily have a thumbnail to pull it through for myself. So we're just going to sew this in. I can bury it. This is a very blunt needle, so there we go. So now all I do is go along my row of stitching and bury it in there. So it hasn't come out the other side at all. So we just go along that line. And if you want to, just make sure you can go back the other way just a few. Again, making sure that didn't really come out the other side so you won't see it. And we can snip that off. So this unfortunately, is where my little demonstration ends, because now you would sew your button to this one here. Lost it. There it is. Right, so you'd sew the button on, and with this part here you could then use this to go through any of those gaps. So you could have it as tight or as loose as you needed it. So the button would be sewn here onto this end, and then this end, each one of these gaps is the same size, so you could get your button through it, and just like that. You could find a button that's a perfect fit. So it's a fully adjustable, which is perfect. Bear with me a second. Moving my camera, that's better. So yeah, fully adjustable, and you can make them in any colour. And as long as you've got the row of treble crochets or double crochet US, then your button will fit through any of those gaps. Just like that. And it will be adjustable for any size head. So that's it. I hope you have enjoyed that, and I'm sorry that I can't finish it off in its entirety, but that obviously is the only button that I possess in this whole house. Everything else that I went to have a look had poppers, and didn't have anything that I could rob a button from, apart from this one jacket that is a winter jacket, and it's got a button on the inside for securing it as a double-breasted thing, and unfortunately it's a clear button, so it doesn't really do it justice, but that's how to do it. So thanks, Criss, thanks for sending it to me, and I hope I haven't made an awful mess of it for you, and thank you very much for watching, everyone. So hope you get busy making these. I'm going to let Gary take some to work if I ever get any buttons, and hopefully I should be able to get my stuff from home at some point and get all my buttons. But you can make them for care homes, hospitals, anyone really that has to use one of these masks, and it's simple to use, no tie-in, just secure it with your button, which obviously is sewn on, and there you go. Mask extender. Thank you very much, and if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll be informed when there are new videos. So bye for now, everyone.